Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
From the transcript of President Roosevelt's speech, which he delivered in Washington, D.C. on December 8th, tomorrow, 1941, one day after the assault on Pearl Harbor. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate and of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. And then we were at war. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot. Come on, Patriots, call in with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, and we're glad to have you with us on this Monday, December 7th. And our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with absolutely the best in tires and service. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Let's go to the phone line right now and have a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Morning, Jim. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
God bless you, Earl. Thank you. And call back later if you get a chance. I've got to go to the weather, but thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great caller right there. Great friend, too, up on the mountaintop this morning. And right now, let's go to the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. They've got the best tools and equipment, all the tools and equipment you need to finish any kind of a task. I urge you to call Roger and the crew and find out more about what they can do on long and short-term rental to help you finish up those projects. 678-3122. K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
The air stagnation advisory continues for today, and we're going to have some sunny skies. Here's a look at your weather forecast. For today, sunny. We are expecting a high of 43. Not really much of a breeze. That's why we've got that air stagnation advisory. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 14. Tomorrow, another beautiful day, sunny skies, high of 44. Still not much of a breeze to speak of. By Wednesday, mostly sunny, 48. Then looks like 38 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and I appreciate it. And right now we want to remind you again, they're easy to find. And that's, of course, our friends at K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. And please, if you've got questions about what you need to finish any kind of a job, just call them. Roger and the gang over there darn sure can help you out. All you have to do is call 678-3122. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn, 678-3122. Right now, I also want to remind you, caller, I'll be right there, about our dear friends at Daryl's Cleaners. I know that Thanksgiving you had the family over and there's gravy stains and cranberry stains and, oh my goodness, on the tablecloth. Well, if you haven't got a dry clean and getting ready for the holidays of Christmas, you better get in there with all your clothes and tablecloths, everything you need cleaned at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. These people are the best at what they do. Absolutely. Dry cleaning prolongs the life of your clothing. I urge you to get in there with your clothes. Work with the best. Kevin, Cindy, the crew at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion in Burley. One more quick note, and that involves our dear, dear friends that have ridden the horse with us for a long time on this program, and that's Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They've been in business seven decades with the best of your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and knowledge and experienced people serving you. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Again, that number 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, good morning to you.
And a good morning to you on Pearl Harbor Day.
Yes, sir.
You know, if there was any doubt in my mind about Chris Wallace being a Democrat, it sure showed through on Sunday, on his Sunday show, when he was interviewing Warnock, the one senator from Georgia, was supposed to be a preacher. And every time I've seen him on TV anywhere, he's yelling and screaming, and he's got so much hate in his system that I don't know how he could ever become a senator.
Yeah.
But Chris Wallace gave him all these softball questions, and then if he gave him a hard one, he just went on to the next thing.
Chris Wallace is not even a chip off the old block. He's not even powder from stepping on the old block of his dad, Mike. And not much of a journalist as far as I'm concerned. Kind of a quirky, kind of a, kind of an attitude adjustment type person that I'd never have cared for on the news. I don't like him on Fox News. I wouldn't like him if he was on any network. I don't think he was terrible as a moderator for the presidential elections for both Biden and Trump, and he absolutely, to me, he's as worthless as a snowball in the oven.
Well, it's kind of renewed some of my thoughts about Fox News. You know, I've always kind of relied on them, and I stuck up for them. But, gosh, I think they're slipping down the trail a little bit.
Be real careful, though, Keith. Be real careful in your assessment. When you say in generalized terms Fox News as an entirety, there are still many, many people on that network, Hannity and Tucker Carlson and the morning folks, that are very, very open, conscientious, and conservative. So be careful about saying in a lump sum terminology Fox News.
For that, I apologize, because you're absolutely right. Hannity does his homework, and he does a good job.
Yeah.
And so does Tucker Carlson.
Yep.
But Hannity, there's something special about him because he has his afternoon show also.
Right.
Because I've never seen anybody that has worked as hard at getting things out as Hannity.
And in converse tones, talking about some of the others like MSNBC and, of course, CNN, I think it goes without saying that regardless of the time of day that you turn on the station or dial in CNN, you're going to basically depend upon very biased news reporting against anything conservative.
Yeah, and this other guy that's on CNN, and I think everybody knows who he is. He was right in the cabinet of Obama. He's trying for a new run.
Yeah. I've got so much that we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days when it comes to this potential, I'm not going to concede yet, potential new administration. But Keith, I always look forward to you kind of jumping on the ice and breaking through in the morning. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You know, the other thing is, if you got a flag, let's fly with pride this day.
Oh, amen.
Pearl Harbor Day.
Amen. Keith.
Many people gave their lives.
So many. And I really do appreciate your remarks. Keith, God bless you and your lovely wife. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant. Oh, good eating at America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. We are going to be having a special Christmas party on the phone, over the radio, coming up on the 17th, and we're going to tell you all about it as the days go forward. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Denny's Restaurant, with the best of breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. Delicious food, and don't forget wonderful, nice, courteous people serving you. And it's true, it's America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I gotta do that right. Merry Christmas. There you go. And don't forget to our friends at Dino Septic Service. Oh boy. Septic tank pumping, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, sewer and sink drain lines clean, liquid waste removal. I mean, they do it all. That's their job. And they do their job better than anyone. I urge you to call them, Dino Septic Service, with the latest of equipment to serve you all over Southern Idaho. 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638, and Twin Falls, 735-8281. The best. How do I know they've done work for us? They are good. Dino Septic Service. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. So give me a jingle on the landline this morning. And to kick things off, yes, this is Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. 79 years ago. And we must not forget the evil that tried to destroy our country, because much of that same evil is trying again to destroy the United States. This next story, I'm just livid about what's going on with these stay-at-home lockdown orders that are happening in California and New York and other places, and I can't abide by it. I will not abide by it. I think it's time to tell government no. Underline that word no. I watched her cry with the tears of a person losing everything. A lady by the name of Angela Marsden down in California that has a restaurant, and she was told she couldn't have anybody inside her restaurant. So what did Angela do when they said you can have outside eating? She paid $80,000 on her property in her parking lot to develop a very nice tent situation for outdoor dining. And after spending the $80,000, if you're not aware of this story, you can check it out. The local government establishment and Gestapo came to her and said, no, you got to close it down. No more outside eating. One hop, skip, and a jump across the parking lot to the next lot, virtually not more than 40 or 50 feet. A movie company filming a movie, I believe for NBC, a series-type movie, they were allowed to construct, and it's still standing there, a great big tent complex to feed all their actors and camera people, lighting people, etc. And that's okay. That's okay. They got permission from the government Gestapo, and they were allowed to do that, but they're shutting off this wonderful lady that's trying to make a living. She's going to lose her home. She's going to lose everything she's got, and then with that additional cost of spending $80,000, and the movie company is allowed 50 feet away to do the same damn thing that she's doing, is letting people eat outside. I am very worked up that when a government has that much control to tell you to stay at home behind locked doors, don't go to your work, don't leave your house, we are really in trouble. We are really in trouble. They've closed all the playgrounds down in California, and I mean outdoor dining and playgrounds and everything else outside? This is lunacy. It's ridiculous, and many of the county sheriffs are saying, no, we will not enforce this lunacy. Thank goodness for them. And you know what really bugs me the most this morning? You will not hear Biden, you will not hear Kamala Harris, because neither one of them are smart enough to come out and give a chastising to the Chinese government for the release of this deadly pandemic, the coronavirus, in the onset. No, they never say a word. It's time to condemn and damn the Chinese government for what they have done. And nobody is saying a word. The minute you bring it up, you're called a racist. Well, go ahead. Call me a racist. The Chinese government, as low or no class of a government could be. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. I'm going to ask you if you can just stay on the line just for a second. I'll be right there. Don't forget, your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with the reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric and see how you can get a Lennox home comfort system that'll improve your health. Call them today at 678-0459. Or visit Ramsey'sOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dad. Now you've got me worked up. You know, this Newsom, the governor of California, all he's doing is pushing and pushing and pushing to see how far people will go.
Well,
you know, this shutdown of California, these people don't know who to turn to.
No, it's enough.
Shut this guy up.
It's enough, but it's not just Newsom. It's also the underlings in politics, like Garcetti, the mayor of L.A., was the one that made this absolutely stupid, and it is stupid, order that this woman has to close up. This woman has been deemed not necessary to operate her business. This woman may lose her home. This woman is going to lose all of her financial bearing with her business and everything else. And 50 feet across the parking lot on another section of that corner, the film company is allowed to erect a tent and have people come and go and eat all day long outside. This is total insanity, and this is why I say, and I don't give one hoot and a holler if somebody's offended by this, it is time for the American people to revolt and tell government what to do, not the other way around.
Well, if they're just going to have a bunch of tents there, they could go anywhere way out in the country and do the same doggone thing, couldn't they?
No, Keith, you got to understand the circumstances. They're filming a downtown situation series, and with all the backdrops of the city and the streets and everything else. And so, therefore, that's why they wanted to have an area established to where the film crews, the lighting technicians, sound people, actors, everybody could congregate and get their meals whenever they have the time. That's why it's there. But it is not fair in any stretch of the imagination that a lady that owns a business is going to lose everything, and she's 50 feet away doing an exact same replica of outdoor dining as the movie company, and that's okay for them, but not for this woman.
Well, the problem is she belongs to the wrong party, the Democrats. these people that have got these tents there and this movie company, these people are all Democrats promoting this hate and dissent that we're seeing.
All I'm going to say is that if, and I mean this, and he's, I think, scheduled to be on the program next week, Governor Little, I'm just going to flat say that any more lockdowns, shutdowns, whatever verbiage you want to use and or call it, they should not be acknowledged. I know people that are in business that are on my program that have talked to me about another shutdown and what it would do, how devastating it would be. It would absolutely be the knife at the throat. And it's about time that we said no, adhering to all the safety precautions that they can, mask wearing, hand washing, social distancing. But I absolutely am calling for an absolute no to any government that tries to shut down businesses.
I'm with you, brother.
All right. Thanks, Keith. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet, bye.
Caller, don't go away. I'll be right there. Promise. I'll be right there. I got to get these in. Mountain Transmissions at 1146 East Main in Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Rick and the crew, they know transmissions. And let me tell you, if you've got a problem, don't go anywhere else. They can help. They will help at Mountain Transmissions, 1146 East Main in Burley, 678-9110. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Hebron. There is a good old boy, and believe me, he wishes you and yours a Merry Christmas and says, remember the true meaning of the season. Absolutely. Call Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair, 431-5282 or 878-4991. And a dear friend of ours, Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27, very grateful to serve the Mini-Cassia area. Many, many good friends, and he appreciates every one of his constituents. And Senator Kelly Anthon and his family wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go, please.
Yes. Good morning, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
You know, this woman's not only going to be out of business, it's going to lay off every employee she has.
That's right.
And then people are going to be without pay going into the Christmas season.
Yep.
Without a job. No hope. I wonder how many suicides are going to happen because of what that governor in California and this government that we live under with these corrupt mayors and governors are putting the people through.
Well, let me ask you one question. Do you think for 5 minutes or 5 seconds that the mayor of L.A., Garcetti, or right up to the top, the governor, are not going to get a paycheck? Yes, they are, for sitting in their ivory domes. But nobody else is going to get that great big elegant paycheck that they're accustomed to, which might not even be a stone's throw of any kind of pay this time of the year with all the COVID-19. They're going to suffer and go out of business. This is absolute lunacy.
Well, they ought to cut the pay of all our Congress people. That's every last single one until this thing is settled. They should, nobody in the government should be getting paid, period. They would be feeling what the other people are feeling then. Absolutely.
Well, I'm not going to give you an argument because you're on the same page I am. I think there's got to be some repercussions back to them. Jerry, I always look forward to hearing from you, my dear friend. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless.
Oh, he already has. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Caller, I've got to give some cookies away, but I'll take your call quickly. Go ahead.
Dad, I woke up this morning as if I'd slept in a bedroll full of cockaburs. It's December 7th. We know what happened then.
Absolutely.
9/11, we know what happened then.
That's right.
Back before then, the stock market traded at, 4, 5, 600. And today it's in close to 30,000. And we've got this Chinese virus that come in here, and nobody's lifted a hand. And I it's just got to me.
Well, you're not the only one. I have been criticized over the last couple of days for being too strong and too demanding and everything else. I'm not going to change. Good heavens, I own this program, and if I decide to pull the plug, fine. But I am not in that mood right now. I'm going to keep broadcasting as far as the idiocy and the incompetency that's going on in government. If somebody doesn't like it, they can turn the dial and, like I've said many times, listen to Barry Manilow music. I don't care. But this is terrible that people are suffering in this country needlessly, and it's about time we stood up on our back legs and said, government, no.
It's our country, Zeb.
That's right. That's right. And we should never forget that. It's our country, we the people. I am not advocating about going out and trying to spread the virus. I said just a moment ago, I am an advocate of making sure that we try to stay as healthy as possible. But government shutdowns that are saying you suffer, you go broke, you lose your home, you lose all your savings, you lose your business, all your employees are out of work, and then 50 feet away give acknowledgement to a film company? I am doggone mad over this idiocy.
Well, I'm mad as hell over what's happened here in the last 4 years. Zeb.
Amen.
And this virus that came to this country is a severe attack of our freedom.
Yep, and you can thank the Chinese government. I am so sick and tired of these people that have got the IQ of a box of rocks condemning Trump. Oh, he did this. He brought this pandemic to the United States and he spread it all over the world. They get away with saying this lunacy. The Chinese government is guilty. Let's go to the source.
That's the way I look at it, Zeb, and compared to what we've done in the past and what's going on today, they're two opposites.
Well, I'm really worked up about what's going on. And then there's another story I'm going to get to in a few minutes that'll absolutely curl your hair. Earl, I appreciate it. I got to run. I'm running late on my cookies. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb.
God bless you. Time to give away some cookies. I got to calm down. The old blood pressure is getting way up there. Sophie's Chatterbox provides our cookie giveaway, and they, of course, have a fantastic restaurant. And what a bakery. You're going to love Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Now, here's the question, and if you win the cookies, call them, please, and tell them when you'll be over for your cookies. This is an easy one, I hope. Who was Bing Crosby's girlfriend in the movie White Christmas? Who was Bing Crosby's girlfriend in the movie White Christmas? Call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Who was the actress that played Bing Crosby's girlfriend in the movie White Christmas? Quickly, give me a call, and you can win the cookies if you would. While I'm waiting for your call, I'm also going to acknowledge our friends at Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And they've got all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes of the Bobcats there for you for any task, whether it's the lift and dig and push and carrying. They've got all the trenchers and the scissor lifts, and they got the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. They've got it all. They do. And great financing programs and super lease rates available for you right now at Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. What's the answer?
Is it Marjorie Reynolds?
No.
Oh, darn.
Thank you very much for your try. I appreciate it. Thank you. Who was the girlfriend of Bing Crosby in the movie White Christmas? I thought that would be a slam dunk. I really did. I thought we'd have the phone lines just boom, lit up, and you're going to kind of kick yourself when you find out the answer. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Vera Ellen?
No, thank you. Wow, I'm impressed I can't believe they can't come up with that answer real fast. Who was the girlfriend to Bing Crosby in the movie White Christmas? Good morning, you're on the air.
Hi, how about Rosemary Clooney?
How about your name?
Charlotte Reedy.
Okay, hold on a second. I've got a slowest pen in the West. Charlotte, and spell the last name.
E-E-D-Y.
How did you know that?
I'm guessing.
No. How did you know that it was Rosemary Clooney?
Because my first answer wasn't right.
Oh, you had to think about it, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Well, it was Rosemary Clooney, and, of course, very famous singer in her own right, naturally, but she was the girlfriend of Bing Crosby, and I thank you. You call over to Sophie's Chatterbox and tell them you're coming in to get your cookies, okay?
Thank you.
All right. God bless you.
Bye.
Charlotte Reedy with the right answer. Rosemary Clooney, and I thought that would be really an easy one this morning. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I want to touch this with a very... No, I won't either. I'll wait and take the call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Go ahead and touch it, Zeb.
No, go ahead. I'm going to take your call.
If you want to talk about something else for a second.
No. You're as important as any other call, and I take it right now. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't disagree with what you said about the situation in California with that poor woman losing her business. And I saw the same report on the news and was just, I felt so bad for her. I wanted to reach out to her and just give her a hug. But there's one part of the story that I heard that you didn't report, and this isn't to disagree with what you're saying, but it's my understanding that that film crew has to have everyone tested on the set for coronavirus.
Well, I can acknowledge
the difference between what she's doing and what the film production company.
Not really, because this woman in previous interviews before today has said she would bend to do any and all the precautions that were deemed necessary to keep open on the outdoor tent feeding area. And you know as well as I do that if they say one thing, oh, well, all of our people are going to be tested every day, and you're going to have an interchange of camera people, sound people, lighting people, actors, directors, script writers, everything that are going to be bouncing in, grabbing a sandwich and leaving. I'm not telling you, but don't go there as far as saying that that's going to be a healthier situation than the lady 50 feet away.
Hold on. I'm not saying that at all. I think that what they should have done, and they should do this with anyone down there, if they're going to allow that film production company to do that, then they also need to let her do it as well. If she meets the same guidelines, they need to treat her the same.
I agree. Now, what about, while you're on the phone, and caller number 2, I'll be there momentarily. While you're on the phone, I want you to ask you about the situation in Staten Island, New York. Can you please explain to me? I know I'm a hot-headed German. I make no apologies for that. But can you tell me how a restaurant and bar is forced to close by police officers in New York, and 47 feet, that's the exact distance down the street, another bar and restaurant is allowed to stay open? Explain that one to me.
I don't know. It's liberal thinking. I cannot explain that to you. It doesn't make any sense to me. To me, it's if you're going to if you have certain rules that you want people to abide by, and I don't agree with these rules, but if you're going to set up those rules, they need to apply to everyone equally.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question.
You open yourself up to lawsuits, and it's just wrong.
Let me ask you a question, and you've all...
Let the other one stay open as long as it's similar guidelines.
Absolutely. You've always been very conscientious about the remarks you make when you call into my program. But let me ask you this. With all these closures, demands, and absolute dictation of saying how they should live or what they should lose, etc., where is the voice of we the people in a free society? Answer that.
We're going to have to get out the pitchforks and torches.
There you go.
They're going to have to get so upset in these liberal places that they're just going to have to march on their city capitals, on their state capitals, and their mayor's offices, and just stand outside and let them know how upset they are about the situation. Because I agree with you. I would, if they're going to force everyone else to lose their livelihood, they should lose their own as well at state level.
And
passing these laws and regulations, they should apply to them and say, hey, you're not letting us get a paycheck, you don't get a paycheck.
That's right. And the hypocrisy,
for the governor and for Garcetti to come out and put out these edicts, because they're still going to get paid. But the poor woman who's losing her business, and then her employees, I feel terrible for them.
Yeah.
Because this is a terrible time of the year to not be working. It's ludicrous what they're doing down there, and they're shooting themselves in the foot. The amount in taxes that they're going to, they're already in the toilet down there as far as what they receive every year. They're in debt up to their eyeballs, and now they're going to be even worse because they're not getting that money in taxes that are supposed to be paid.
Yeah, and the hypocrisy that's going on with these paid officials.
I'm glad I'm in Idaho. That's all I have to say.
Amen. God bless you for your call.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. The hypocrisy of these bigots that call themselves leaders, mayors, the Governor Newsom, etc., going out and dining and doing little junkets to other countries, i.e. Mexico, etc. The hypocrisy of these overpaid, underworked, absolute bigots makes me sick. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's all about control. These bureaucrats like the authoritarian, and our governor's no different. I mean, he's been listening to all the health officials, and they're getting all their information apparently from Dr. Fauci. That's been on every side of every issue. Don't wear a mask. Well, at first he said, well, this is not a very serious virus, and then the whole bottom line is that they're using the number of cases, and I know a few people that have had the virus, but none of them have had very severe symptoms. Now, I know it can kill, but it's just with the cases they're using this 97 up to 97%. I've read another article. 90%, they use this spin on this material they take up, for do the testing. So 90 to 97% of them give you a false positive. And this is why even the CDC said, if you don't have any symptoms, don't get tested. And there's a good reason for that, because they're going to find that you're supposedly have the virus, Zeb, when you really don't.
Well, hang on. I gotta jump in here, Adrian, because I'm short on time, and I want to make sure we get our points across. Number one, what I am revolting against is the domination factor of people that are paid bureaucrats telling others with a magic wand to go broke and suffer. I don't like that. I'm not going to abide by it. And I am saying stay open. Do not abide by lockdowns and shutdowns. Do everything you can to be absolutely worthy of staying open with the mask wearing. I support it. The cleanliness, I support it. The social distancing, I support it, etc. But no more lockdowns. That's your business. That's your livelihood. That's your life. And I'm not going to have a bureaucrat tell me I should go broke while he gets a fat cat check and drives around and smiles all day at how wonderful his life is.
Well, that's exactly right. And so some of these bureaucrats would not get a check for even a month. They would be changing their... But the governor... and these governors all around the nation, some businesses are essential and some other. Well, and the hypocrisy of that is all businesses are essential. They all...
That's right. That's right.
And so, of course, there's the attack on churches. I mean, this is part of the old communist Marxist doctrine that we got to eliminate the opiate of the people, meaning the Judeo-Christian religion, and they're doing a good job of doing that.
I agree, Adrian.
It's just unbelievable.
I agree with you, and you hit the nail on the head. I got to run. I've got a weather forecast that is destined for this time. I appreciate it, and you and I are on the same page. But I'm telling people this morning, do not bow to the realm of hypocrisy that these politicians are showing us. Absolutely. Right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Right now, I got to get the weather on. Man alive, I'm running late. I got to get my dear friends with Mount Harrison. Caller number 2, I'll be there. Please do not hang up. Mount Harrison Audiology, they know that the cost of hearing treatment may be a deterrent for many potential patients, but listen, they can really help you, and they can make sure that with low monthly payments, etc., you're going to be treated to hearing health. Please call them. They are excellent. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room, 312-0957. Here's Gina with the weather.
The air stagnation advisory continues for today, and we're going to have some sunny skies. Here's a look at your weather forecast. For today, sunny. We are expecting a high of 43. Not really much of a breeze. That's why we've got that air stagnation advisory. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 14. Tomorrow, another beautiful day, sunny skies, high of 44. Still not much of a breeze to speak of. By Wednesday, mostly sunny, 48. Then looks like 38 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Every person that is going to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids treated to customized individual treatment for their needs. Please call them, make an appointment, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, you've been so patient. Good morning, you're on the air.
There's no one on the line.
Oh, I thought I heard the cow moo. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to bend. And I'm certainly not going to be coerced by anybody in politics. Oh, you better apologize for your remarks about we the people and how you are saying that we should not follow any more lockdowns or shutdowns. I'm not going to apologize for saying that, because I believe in what I'm saying. And the last time I looked, right here on my desk, nobody has taken my Constitution and burned it or changed the verbiage. I still have the right of free speech. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm still worked up, but one of the things is about this COVID. It's always the thing that everybody blames it on and everything. But here is what the problem is. People who have underlying conditions, like you, or maybe me, or somebody like that, we shouldn't be out and about spreading it, because that's what the problem is.
Now, wait a minute. Whoa.
These people who have passed on,
wait a minute.
from outlying situation.
You just said something that I took a little bit of offense at. You said that you and others are outside spreading it. I don't have anything to spread. So I hope that the comment that you made wasn't anything geared at me or my wife or you or Nancy. I don't have any COVID. I have not got any symptoms of it. I am just saying that I will adhere to the mask wearing. I will adhere to the social distancing. I will adhere to the hand cleansing, etc. I will do everything I can to protect myself, but I am not going to stay behind closed doors. I am not going to shut my business down, and I will not adhere to any lockdown or shutdown.
Well, I agree with you there. The point I was trying to make is I'm 83 years old. You're about 10 years younger, but you're in that category that is susceptible.
I realize that.
Put the other underlying conditions in there, you're really in the danger zone.
Yeah, but Keith, wait a minute. Are you going to live your life with Nancy sitting there in your living room like you're living in a bubble? I can't, and I won't, and I'm underlining the word won't. I will not live like that. No, never.
No, I go to the store when I need something. I go to the store and I put on my mask just like you do. But I don't have somebody demanding that I have to have that. Not at all.
Well, you know, the government saying, I'm not so much against the mask wearing out in public right now until the shots and the vaccines are distributed. I'm not so much against it as I used to be. But, I will not be told that my business is not essential and that my business can flounder and I can go bankrupt. I will not adhere to that.
Here's the funny thing. No, it's not funny. It's a terrible thing. This lady that's having the struggle right now, put all that money in and everything, is a victim because the governor went out and did the very same thing that he's trying to tell people he can't do.
Well, see, that's the problem.
Extra mile and wanted to do it outdoors, and he didn't do that. He went inside.
Well, here's the problem, Keith, and then I got to get a commercial on real quick. We are allowing all of us to be victims of the government. The first three words of the Constitution say, "We the people." And I am not going to stand up or stand by while the government makes us victims. I can't do it. Keith, always appreciate your call. Thank you, my dear friend. God bless. Thank you. Merry Christmas wishes from Golden Valley Warehouse at 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. Yes, Scott Christie and the whole crew out there at Golden Valley Warehouse, they thank everyone for their business and wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Rain for Rent, 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul. And boy, you know they sell the Reinke Pivot Sales and Service. They are really, really good folks. And they take the time right now, this time of the year, to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. 438-5065, Rain for Rent. And don't forget my lovely lady, Vicki at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Be sure and call the number 431-5667 and arrange for gift certificates for stocking stuffers for Vicky's Country Garden in Paul. Merry, Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This is Chuck Driscoll, the Veteran Service Officer.
Hi, Chuck. I'm good, thank you.
I just wanted to remind everybody that we should be thanking those in our families and those in the nursing homes that participated in World War II, as this is Pearl Harbor Day, and we should always remember the sacrifices that those men made.
You know, Chuck, if I may, I want to reiterate what I've said on the program many, many times, that I hope the American public and everybody will remember our veterans. And right here in Magic Valley, you're doing such a great job for the veterans. I just urge my audience to send some Christmas cards, and tell me if I'm wrong, but they could send them to your office and you will pass them out to the veterans. Is that right?
That's correct.
And give us that mailing address real quick.
P.O. Box 545, Burley, Idaho, 83318.
And, you know, it doesn't take anything extra out of anybody's pocket, anybody's time, to sit down and maybe jot down 2 or 3 cards, send them to Chuck Driscoll at that address he just mentioned, and he will distribute those cards to our servicemen and women that have given their all for this country. At this time of the year, a Merry Christmas wish would be really appreciated.
Thank you, Zeb. I sure appreciate you supporting us.
Well, anything I can do, and we'll keep plugging it, Chuck. Thank you so much for your call. It meant a lot. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Ah, yes, sir. Folks, let's do this, please, as a favor to me. I'm serious, as a favor to me. Take about 2 or 3 Christmas cards and send them to Chuck Driscoll, Minidoka and Cassia County Veteran Service Office, and it's at Post Office Box 545 in Burley, 83318, and just, you know, he'll distribute those cards to the veterans that are around the area. Boy, that'd be, you know, kind of a Merry Christmas, and thank you for serving the United States of America. Let's do that, please. I want to remind you, too, about our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. with the best of tires. Now, again, we've been blessed. Here it is, December 7th already, and look outside. Don't see a whole bunch of muck and yuck and snow on the road, but you know it's coming. And when it does, you want to be prepared with the best of tires to get you through to your work or wherever you're going. Don't forget, they've got the best of tires, all sizes for all vehicles, and the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Batteries really important. They've got the best. You stop in and see James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane in Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Yes, sir, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, the best. Wow. This morning we've had a couple of changes. Now, next hour, Rick Manning is not going to be on the air. He is in Arizona right now for that Trump rally and making sure that the vote is legal and precise. And I'm going to try to get him scheduled later on this week to tell us what happened. So Speaker of the House Scott Bedke is going to be on this next half hour, and then Frosty Woldridge. All of that coming up on Zeb at the Ranch. And right now we're going to send it over to Sean at our main studio. Welcome back on this Monday, December 7th, Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And of course, don't forget too, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, this good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
They are always at your disposal, and I urge you, if you need a dumpster, you kind of looked at the basement, you looked at the upstairs, you looked at your office, you looked at the attic, and you said, oh my goodness, company's coming. We got to clean this mess up. Well, they've got dumpsters in various sizes. Call them, they'll drop one off, you fill it up, they'll come and get it. Really good people, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air that you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Check it out today, a Lennox home comfort system that'll help improve your health. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying that I've had some problems with my legs almost all my life, but boy, of recent, I've really had some problems, and I've been going to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They have helped me. I know they can help you. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They've got a whole stable full of great physical therapists, headed up by Nick Greenwell, and let me tell you, if you're aching and paining and recuperating from an accident or surgery, that is the place to go. Call them, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Want to also give a great big shout out to some friends of ours that have been on this program almost from the very, very beginning, and that's, of course, our friends at Hanson Mortuary. Joel Heward, along with his family and staff, serving you and your family in a very, very tumultuous time of need. When there's a passing of a loved one, they are there to help you. They're located at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and the number to call, 436-5636, and they always uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. That number again, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Without further ado, let's go to the phone line. And with us now, the duly elected again for 2 more years as Speaker of the House. I say good morning to Representative Scott Bedke. How are you?
I'm very well, Zeb. It's good to hear from you.
Well, it's good to have you on this program.
It was quite a week last week. It's always a little nerve-wracking, but we had our organizational session here where both the House and the Senate met in Boise and had what we call the organizational session. It's about 5 weeks always ahead of the regular session that starts this year on January 11th. And anyway, at the end of that process, the House of Representatives elected me as the Speaker again. I'm very honored, very humbled for the trust that they put in me to to be their presiding officer. We don't have to tell you or any of your listeners that we are in some trying times as a nation. The good news is that Idaho, while we're in the same trying times, we are so much better financially than most of the other states because of their prudent leadership. I guess we better take a little credit there. But we have set very austere budgets. We didn't extend ourselves. We didn't spend money we did not have. As we looked at the horizon that last March, we kind of drew our horns in a little bit. It turned out, it's kind of like on the farm. You went ahead and planted, but you didn't spend a lot of money. You hoped that the crop would come in and that the market would be there. And so the state of Idaho did the same thing. We drew our horns in. The governor asked for a holdback. We can talk about what that is, but we have well positioned the state to come through the uncertainties of this past summer. Now, as it's turned out, Idaho said, pandemic, that's fine, but we're going to go ahead and conduct our lives and we're going to conduct our businesses. And so at this point, there's been nary a ripple in the receipts coming into the state. So our economy is in good shape. There was a blip and there were some scares early on, particularly in the food chain, in the food processing industries. That has all been ironed out, and people are still wanting. I'm up here in Boise. People are still wanting to move to Idaho. They want to buy homes up here. You can't find, homes here. Of course, you're hard pressed to find one in Twin or Burley or Rupert, for that matter. Our economy, underneath all this turmoil, is plugging along just like we always do, and it's very humbling to be elected as one of the leaders of a state like that, and to kind of help direct the affairs of that. So okay. I'm a pretty humble guy here on, and then it's also a sobering day. December 7th is always a time for pause and reflection and just to kind of think of whose shoulders we really stand on, and the sacrifices that have been made in our behalf, and we're the beneficiaries of that. And you'll find me not wanting to let down one little bit on my watch.
I appreciate that, Scott. And
that's kind of what's going on, Zeb.
Well, let me interject that we have a call already. And caller, I'm short on time, so I'm going to ask you to go ahead, please, quickly.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I have a question for the speaker there. Back in May, he had issued a letter to the governor on emergency powers, specifically mentioning that the health districts were best suited to handle, these issues that we've been having. But Minidoka County has been having, these issues with the health department. And I know that the Senate and House are working on legislation to limit the powers of the governor for emergencies. What is your stance currently? Do you still think that the health department is the best course of action for what's happening right now?
Appreciate your call. Go ahead, Scott, please.
Thank you, Zeb, and thank you to the caller. Idaho is a big state, and what fits in Ada County or in the Boise Valley or Treasure Valley does not necessarily fit in Minidoka County or Rupert or Burley or Twin. And so I do think that it was smart then, and it will be smart in the future to have regionalized approaches rather than a one-size-fits-all from everywhere from Sandpoint to Preston. I think that's only smart, and so there's that. I do, I get asked all the time about what I would do and what I wouldn't do, and as the caller referenced, I do believe that there has been too much legislative prerogative that has crept into the executive branch over the decades. No one noticed, no one cared, seemingly, but we never did stress test it until this year. And when we did, we saw that there were some areas that were lacking, including this jurisdiction of health districts and how they interface with the local units of government and the state governments. And I think that's certainly on our list of things to hold hearings on and to hear from people like the caller and others, how best to proceed here. I don't think it's wise for us to turn to we cannot ignore the fact that there is a very contagious virus running through our state, and we've got to take steps to do that. But at the same time, we've got to keep everyone's civil liberties in place, and by extension, our economy as we address the health issues. And so, where that balance is, I guess, kind of remains to be seen. There are all sorts of ideas here and all sorts of responses and everywhere from running and hiding to chest thumping, and somewhere in the middle is a proper response, and that's what we're going to be trying to find. It's never easy, but that's where we're at here. If I were a parent of a high school athlete right now, I would be very frustrated. And we build these nice new gyms that can seat 1,000 people, and then we only let 30 or 40 people in there. Yeah. That seems to be inconsistent with other stuff that we do. But again, we have our vulnerable population that we've got to take care of, but I'm kind of more about protecting them and isolating them than the others. But anyway, the frustration that's in the caller's voice is a frustration that is shared by every legislator, believe you me.
All right, I'm going to jump in here, Scott. I'm going to say this, and then we've got to hurry and take another call. But I'm going to say that a lot of people that have called me, whether it's on the air or after the program, are very afraid of the possibility of Idaho becoming or trying to emulate and imitate what's going on with Newsom in California or a Cuomo in New York State. And they're very worried because their livelihoods and their businesses depend on staying open, and I'll just have you respond to that quickly.
I couldn't agree more. I just talked to a friend that spent last week with family in Southern California, and I guess the good news is that those people down there are completely, they're frustrated. There's not a lot of, there's a lot of, you might say, civil disobedience to Governor Newsom's mandates, and even the Californians are fed up. So and you extend that to a place like Idaho, and the frustration levels. People are all the same. They're concerned about their livelihoods. They're concerned about meeting their obligations, their financial obligations, and they're concerned about the health of their families. And the good news is that it would seem that they're there's there's a vaccine that will help here. Please rest assured to everyone who's listening, there won't be any vaccine mandates coming out of the state of Idaho, just like there never has been up to this point. But there'll be plenty of tools for us here in the state to use. The problem is that the our hospitals are, and I've talked to doctors, and these are not just guys in white coats that are wagging their finger at us, telling us to wear a mask and stay in the basements. These are right-thinking doctors that do not want to shut the economy down. They do not. They don't believe in edicts from the government to do for masks or that type of thing. But at the same time, they are on the front lines. The hospitals are filling. They're worried about their capacity to treat other people. The backlog of people that should be getting diagnostic tests for cancer and other things is backing up by the thousands. Those health concerns will come to bear here if at some point as well. So they're wanting to be able to get out and talk to people, teach them the correct principles so that the people can make a rational decision for themselves. Mm-hmm. But they've got to be there to help the critically sick, and their capacity is filling. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's full yet, but if the trends we're going on right now, the hospitals will fill. And then if they have to, the last thing they want to do is ration care. The last thing they want to do is put off somebody that needs to, that needs a CAT scan or a PET scan or some type of a diagnostic scan because of other problems. And anyway, but give us. This will all work out. I am very optimistic that just because I look at Idaho for the last 6 months, the predictions of doom and gloom that happened last March and April did not come to pass, and Idahoans have stepped up, and the economy is still going along, but that's not to say in every segment. I mean, there's financial hardship out there, but I think that this too shall pass. But we're just going to have to hunker down here and do the right thing for the next 3 or 4 months, and I think we're going to be okay.
All right. We've got a caller waiting on the line. Caller, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Scott, I want you to know that I think you're doing a great job. You've done what you said you'd do. You've come like President Trump. You say it, and then you try to do it. But does our governor confer with you on a personal basis, or you're Speaker of the House, to pass some of these ideas by you before he pulls the trigger?
I think that's a good question, and I thank Keith for calling. But, Scott, let me put a little addendum on that. What about the gubernatorial powers? I mean, has, in your opinion, Governor Little superseded some of those and has to have the rope pulled tight, or what's the status there?
I'm going to co-sponsor legislation that does at least 3 things here starting in January. I do not think that the governor unilaterally, under a declaration of emergency that is that he declares, that with the powers that the legislature has given the governor through the years, after an emergency declaration, I do not think that authority should extend to changing the method, manner, or time of an election. I don't think, just because you're in a pandemic, it ought to be any changes ought to be a product of the legislative process, so that the elected representatives from all over the state can sit down and make a decision that is best for the state of Idaho, rather than one person and a set of staff making that. Now, we may come up with the exact same decision. Many times, rational people that are exposed to the same set of facts, we come up with similar solutions. But I think it is very dangerous to exclude the legislative branch. In our form of government, it's a representative democracy, or a representative republic, excuse me. And so the legislative process is sacred. And the governor is an important part of the legislative process. We would not lock him out, but by the same token, we shouldn't be locked out. Now, I understand the concept of having too many cooks in the kitchen initially, and so you give the governor, say 30 days, say 45 days, whatever it is, to get his legs underneath him and to get the state positioned for a response. But if we're going to keep extending these declarations of an emergency at a certain point, and I believe after the initial 45 days, I think if it's serious enough to extend the emergency declaration, then it's serious enough to bring the legislature in on those decisions. Mm-hmm. These are rational, well-meaning, good people from all across the state, and the governor should share that responsibility with the legislative process. In a like manner, if you're going to get over $1 billion of money from the federal government, the Constitution says it's the legislative branch that should appropriate that. Now, but it goes through the legislative process. The governor is right in the middle of the legislative process. We're not talking about locking him out of that process. We're just saying that we should be included. Now, the decisions that end up coming out of that may look exactly like the ones that Governor Little made. Governor Little's, got his head screwed on straight. This is a fellow cattleman that is a successful rancher. He brings that type of mentality to the job. To answer specifically, have I been in the middle of that? The answer is not like I think I should have been, or not like I think that the legislature should have been. And we can share that burden with him, and rightfully we should have in our form of government.
Scott, I tell you what, I've got another call, but I've only got 3 minutes before I have to start another segment. Could you, at some point this week, come possibly back on the program? I'll call you after the show and we'll answer more of these questions, because 20 minutes is not nearly enough. I know you've got another meeting to go to, but would you, if you get a chance, call me. We'll try to reschedule.
Certainly, Dab. And that's why I love representing the Magic Valley, because we got good citizens there that understand. They don't stampede easily. They're pretty steady. They're common sense oriented, and I would love to discuss these issues with
All right. Representative Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House, God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you for coming on the program, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. And to the caller that was waiting on hold, I apologize, but I am dictated to by the clock, and I do apologize. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. Yes, sir. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, with menu choices that are absolutely fantastic and so delicious. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I urge you to stop in. Maybe you're out Christmas shopping. Well, stop into Denny's and enjoy the delicious food. Like I said, breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime, all the time. They are there to serve you. America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Also want to remind you about some of the Merry Christmas wishes coming in from some of our great advertisers, like Burley Veterinary Hospital at 2826 Overland Avenue in Burley, a mixed animal hospital committed to providing quality veterinary care in a caring, compassionate atmosphere. They have done that since 1946. Burley Veterinary Hospital in Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. And again, Mountain Transmissions, 1146 6 East Main in Burley. Oh my, they offer free towing, free diagnostic, free estimates. If you've got a transmission problem, you get a hold of them today. Mountain Transmissions, the number to call, 678-9110. And last but not least, our friends over at Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Oh, they've got quite a store up there. You better stop in and check out that famous Grandma Clark's recipe on the sausage. It is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. In just a moment, we're going to go via the phone line to Golden, Colorado, and have my dear friend Frosty on the line. Stand by. Quick note, too, about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness, all the snow machines, all the accessories. They've got it all. You better head on in there. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2. And as I said, all the snow machines, everything on the showroom floor, you're going to love it. And don't forget, too, they've got a service department that'll keep you running. Tyson and the crew, they're really, really good. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. And when you're over in that area, don't forget some other really good friends of ours. And boy, I rely on Todd and the crew. They've been a big help to me. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, right there on the curve going into Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more by some folks that are really dedicated and responsive to your needs. They're devoted to serving you. All you've got to do is give them a call, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Right now it's time for one of my very best friends to come on the program, and believe me, I just finished reading right before the program his latest article, and I absolutely agree with everything. It's called Post-American Presidents, Barack Hussein Obama and Kamala Harris. Here's Frosty Woolridge.
Well, good morning, Zeb, and greetings to everyone listening to this program today. And hopefully, if you get a chance, I think you're going to really appreciate this article, Post-American Presidents, Barack Hussein Obama and Kamala Harris. And I really, you can go to newswithviews.com to pick it up, or it's also going to be on freedomsphoenix.com this week, and then quite a few other news service websites. And what I really tried to do, and I'm gonna make also, Zep, I have just narrated a 30-minute video about America's future if we continue on the mass immigration that was created back in 1965 with the Immigration Reform Act of 55 years ago. And this video is going to show every person in America, and what I'm hoping to do, and I'm going to bring it up more, the video is going to be out within 2 or 3 days, and the videographer, I'm amazed. One of the top videographers in the country asked me to do a narrative on what's happening to America and what's going to happen to America if we continue on this immigration invasion path, both legal and illegal. And it is a very compelling video, and yours truly narrates it, and it shows exactly what we're doing to ourselves. I'm hoping that it will create enough. Once you see this video, you cannot unsee it. It's that compelling. It's that powerful. And I will send it to you. You're going to be able to see it. And then we start passing it around the country. And I would love to see 50, even 100 million Americans watch this video, because it literally is going to depict what we're facing and what's going to happen to our cities, what's going to happen to our lands, what's going to happen to our culture, what's going to happen to our language. It's all there in this video, and that's going to happen probably in the next couple of days. Next after that is the fact that we are becoming a different country right now, because if you will notice, Barack Hussein Obama, and let's face it, Joe Biden, if he takes the oath of office by 20th of January, he's not going to last. I doubt he lasts 6 months. He's old. He's frail. He has onset dementia. That's been proven. He really can't even finish a sentence. and he's going to be so exhausted. I would imagine he'll probably have a heart attack, or he'll be exhausted so much that the 25th Amendment will be applied and he will be run out of office. And so most everybody knows that Kamala Harris will become the next president. And the reality of this is these two people are post-American presidents. Up until now, up until Barack Hussein Obama, who was not an all-American boy, who actually had a father from Kenya and a mother from America, and we still don't know where he was born. We do know that his 042 Social Security number is a completely fraudulent Social Security number given to him from Connecticut, a state that he had never set foot in before that time. So it was the number itself has been proven to be given from a dead man's Social Security number who never acquired the funds from Social Security. So that whole mystery and the fact that Barack Hussein Obama lived over 10 years of his childhood youth in Africa or Indonesia, I can't remember which, but he is not an all-American president. He is a post-American president. And Kamala Harris, her mother is Indian, and her father is Jamaican. And both of them were not citizens when they had here in this country. There's a great deal of doubt that she's even eligible to become president, but because the Democrats have had such power and they're gaining in the swamp, if you will, have such power, and the mainstream media could care less, they won't look into it. We are now having post-American presidents, and these are the first two post-American presidents, both of them essentially anchor babies, and that they are going to change the face of politics here in our country, not to America, but to very much an un-American future. And so that's why I wrote this piece, and I think you'll find it very informative once you read it on newswithviews.com.
Frosty, I have, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, a lot of fear, a lot of trepidation, and a lot of worry for this country. I worry for my grandsons. I worry for their families in the future. Because the transition and the complete change that the Democrats want to exercise against our Constitution and against the population in this country, I wonder, I really do wonder, and we've got a call, so give me a short answer on this. I wonder how many Americans really are taking the time to understand fully what is going on with this latest election to possibly put Biden and Harris in as the leaders of the United States.
Well, for the most part, the Democrats simply don't know what they've done to their own country. They've allowed massive invasion of immigrants who are not of this country, now well over 45 million. And within the next 30 years, there will be well over 100 million that are not of this country. And it is changing the entire culture, the language, and the ethos of our country to a point that we are going to face extraordinary internal conflict. That's what's coming to this country, and half the country doesn't know it. The other half does, but in fact, unfortunately, the other half that doesn't know it just put Joe Biden more than likely into the White House to even make it worse.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Your question for Frosty, please.
Well, Frosty, you're absolutely right about what's going on. And I just want to make a comment about the city I left back east 60 years ago. Is now, the last time I checked the demographics, which is about a year, is 15% white.
Okay, and you are exactly correct. We are the European Americans, Caucasians, whatever you want to determine us. We are being displaced out of our country, and we are the ones that created the Declaration of Independence because of the brain power that it took to do that. We fought the Revolutionary War to kick the divine right of kings and being subjects to the Crown of England. And we are the ones that created Constitution and the Bill of Rights that eventually gave all of us and every person of whatever their race, creed, or color the right to be a free and independent person, to choose their lives as they wish, to have education, you name it. This country created that. we were the first country in the world to ban slavery, outlaw slavery, and so that every person has an opportunity to express themselves. And right now, we are finding that that Constitution is being undermined and that we are being displaced out of our own country, and we're being done, this is being done by our own elected representatives. And Joe Biden, for as long as he lasts, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, is going to completely blow open the borders of this country and give citizenship rights to 25 million illegal aliens, another 1.3 DACA students. In other words, our laws are no longer enforced and they're no longer relevant, and that's going to cause us, as you can see, a degrading of our country down to a third world country. That's what I see coming as clearly as a bell.
You know, I want to interject something and ask you a question right there, Frosty, that my concern of the Biden and Harris administration would be, and maybe there's no merit to what I'm asking you, please tell me if I'm wrong, but the more I read about his immigration so-called policies and what he wants to do to change and how he absolutely abhors the wall that Trump was putting up, but yet I see him trying to work with El Salvador and Guatemala and Honduras and other countries, and it almost looks to me like he's making a capitulation that I'm president now and we're going to welcome anybody and everybody in from your country. Am I wrong?
That's exactly what he's doing. If you go to his platform, he's going to do everything he can to open these borders up. And I want everyone to understand this. In my new book that's coming out in February, which is going to be a blockbuster book, and it's titled America's Overpopulation Predicament, Blindsiding Future Generations. If you look at Mexico, which has now transported and transplanted over 15 million of its citizens into our country, illegally, do you understand that? Illegally into our country, because their country, Mexico, is so miserable, the standard of living is so bad, the wages are so horrible that they are escaping as fast as they can. But the same thing is happening in El Salvador and Nicaragua and Panama. You can go on down all those third world countries down there, but here's the caveat to that. It's been proven, and I show it in my book, that Mexico is going to add another 16 to 20 million people here to their country within the next 30 years. And all of Central America is going to add another 30 to 40 million themselves. They can't even take care of the ones they have now. And so those people, if given a chance, they're going to migrate north to get into America, where they get to enjoy the extraordinary welfare systems that we have built up for our citizens, but in fact, they're the ones tapping into them. Again, look at Minneapolis, Minnesota, and all those 120,000 Somalis. They're all on welfare. Look at the Muslims over there in Detroit. They're all on welfare. Look at the ones down in Miami. They're all on. That's our money, folks. That's for our citizens, but in fact, people like Biden are giving, and Harris will be giving all of those welfare benefits to those poverty-stricken third world people who are essentially illiterate and unable to contribute to the American way of life. And so we're going to see, again, collapsing of our welfare systems at some point. Most people don't realize it, but there's 40 million Americans and foreigners living on food stamps right now. And that's our money. That's our food. That's our system. At some point, it absolutely will collapse, and we will not be able to take care of ourselves, let alone the predicted 100 million more immigrants that are going to come into this country within the next 30 years.
Absolutely. We have another call with a question. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Yep.
And they're backing up, evidently. One of the things that really bothers me, and I want you to comment, and it's a little bit off the rails from what we've talked about already about illegal immigrants, etc., are some of the other facets of what Biden is saying, especially regarding gun control. And I just wanted to get your take on this because of the verbiage that was put out last week in the papers across the country. I'm going to read this paragraph and see if you can't pick out the key word here, Frosty. He, meaning Biden, also supports restricting gun purchases and possession by fugitives, people convicted of hate crimes, and those deemed unable to manage their own affairs. The word deemed.
Was that open, deemed to be unable to operate with their own affairs.
Right.
Which could be anything and everything.
That's
so in
right.
Other words, that man, and certainly Harris is going to be. She's against guns. Period. If she could, she would collect all of our guns and leave us defenseless against the government. And that one reason the founders made the First Amendment and the Second Amendment right up there at the very top is because we need our free speech, number one. We need to have our weapons, number two, to ensure our free speech in this country and our right to be free, because government, in the end, and the power mongers that love to, and you're looking at it happening in all of Washington, D.C., have those people, and the 535 elected representatives, have they represented us in the last 30 to 40 years? And the answer is no, because if they actually represented us, then we wouldn't have a $26 trillion national debt. We wouldn't have a 20-year useless war in Afghanistan and Iraq that has accomplished nothing but a $6 trillion price tag. We wouldn't have kids stomping on the U.S. Old Glory right now. We wouldn't have male-female bathrooms where these transgenders who are actually DNA boys pretending that they are girls and even get to compete as women in women's sports. We wouldn't have that going on because it makes no sense whatsoever. There's no way we would allow Sharia law in this country, but it is being allowed in de facto practice in places like Detroit and in Miami and in New York City and in Fremont, California. I could give you plenty of other places. We wouldn't allow English to be completely usurped in this country with all the other languages that are coming in. And if we really had a Congress that represented us, we wouldn't have 25 million illegal aliens in this country, and we wouldn't have all these sanctuary cities, 550 of them, that have been really allowed and voted on by city councils and city councils and mayors across the city. So what's happening to our country is that our elected officials are actually undermining the American people. That's exactly what's happening.
It just absolutely astounds me how people can look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Ilhan Omar or Presley or Tlaib, the so-called squad, the new progressives, and want to live underneath the auspices of their stupid, zany political whims and fancies. It scares me how America is just teetering on the brink.
I have to admit, anybody that listens to Ilhan Omar who has a 68 IQ, that is a biological fact. She is from Somalia. The average IQ over there is 68. That's why their country is such a nightmare, because that's how a 68 IQ finally comes to fruition. A failed country, a failed culture, a failed people. So she drags her sorry butt over here, and she would install her kind of governance into our country, along with the Tlaib there, the Palestinian House member in Detroit, and Presley, and you go on down the line. If those people were in total power of the House and the Senate right now, this country would literally fall into third world chaos and conflict in a heartbeat. And yet, people listen. AOC, I don't know what her brain power is, but it's that of a cleaning woman. I mean, that's her skill set. And yet, because she's in an enclave of a bunch of people who are just of the same intellectual capacity, she gets to be right there in the House of Representatives, and every time she opens her mouth, it shows how stupid she is, and yet people follow her. For the life of me, that's what's coming to this country. And once you get to, I hope everyone watches this video that I'm going to have put out here within the next week, and you'll get one of the first copies of it. That's where we're headed, and that is not where we want to go as America and as Americans. So, yeah, you're worried, I'm worried, I'm terrified of what's coming to our country, especially the kind of president that Kamala Harris is going to bring to the White House. oh my God, we are in for one heck of a nasty ride.
But what can the American public do? I mean, 74 million people voted, I'm rounding off the numbers, voted for Donald Trump to retain his presidency and his administration. And I got to tell you, I've studied this thing upside and down, sideways and back to the middle again. And I don't understand how when I went to bed on election night, and everything looked like Texas, Ohio, everything was absolutely a boat docked in the harbor for President Trump. I wake up in the morning and I find out that this whole thing has been turned upside down. I'm not buying this election.
Well, and I'm with you 100%, because if you went to a Trump rally, there were 20,000 screaming, cheering folks that supported him. And if you went to any rally with Joe Biden, you only had the camera crews. There were many, where there weren't even 50 to 100 people in the audience. That's a fact. And it's amazing that the mainstream media wouldn't show that. But I got to see, all of the videos. Joe Biden couldn't inspire a gopher to come out on Gopher Day. It's unbelievable what happened. And so it shows you that there's extraordinary power in money that really is undermining the American people and our American voting systems, and there are no records with these electronic and the Dominion voting systems. At some point, we, the American people, had better start demanding paper ballots to be counted and signatures and IDs at the voting booths, because the kind of corruption that's going on is beyond my appreciation, and we're going to pay dearly for it if let's face it, Harris becomes the next president.
I'm going to take one more phone call, Frosty.
Joe Biden, if he becomes the next president, we know that Harris is going to take over.
Yeah.
And God help us when that lady takes over the White House and the highest office in the land. We're in deep, deep trouble.
Frosty, I've only got 1 minute, so keep your answer really short. Caller, go fast, please.
There's so much to worry about, whether or not the invasion of the illegals or the stupidity of the people of America who reelect these insane people from these certain swing states. And so then you've got the patriots out here who rose up, voted 75 million plus, and it'll be close to 80 if they figure all the votes that weren't counted or whatever, and plus the people that stayed home. You just say to yourself, you just wonder how terrible will it get before, and if it gets bad enough, will we be able to recover it?
Okay, thanks, buddy. Frosty, real short, please. Go ahead.
At some point, we will not be able to recover our country, and you're going to see that in my video that comes out. At some point, they will have so much power by demographic power that we will not have the power to save our country, the U.S. Constitution, our culture, our language, and our way of life. That's what I see coming, and that's what's going to come if we don't stop and all mass immigration, if we don't shut down all immigration, and we don't deport all of the 25 million that are here illegally. We don't stand a chance. We're simply going to become another third world country, banana republic. That's what I see coming.
I've got to schedule you for a longer segment, and I want to talk more about this, and I'll be in touch with you. My dear friend Frosty Woldridge in Golden, Colorado, I mean this when I say it. God bless, Frosty. Take care, and thank you so much.
And thank you, Zip.
Take care. Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado, and I'll have more of a time scheduled, I hope, maybe sometime this week or early next week. Holy cow, time for the weather. Woo! And the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They are the professionals with accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area and beyond for over 50 years. I'm talking the best with tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. The list goes on and on. They are the professionals with offices in Burley and Rupert, bringing you the weather. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Here's Gina.
The air stagnation advisory continues for today, and we're going to have some sunny skies. Here's a look at your weather forecast. For today, sunny. We are expecting a high of 43. Not really much of a breeze. That's why we've got that air stagnation advisory. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 14. Tomorrow, another beautiful day, sunny skies, high of 44. Still not much of a breeze to speak of. By Wednesday, mostly sunny, 48. Then looks like 38 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by my friends and folks that you can really trust to help you with your accounting needs. Yes, sirree, they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area and beyond for over 50 years, and they are the professionals. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. Once again, they bring you the weather every hour. This hour on Zeb at the Ranch, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Holy smokes, before we wrap it up for this half hour, I want to remind you, too, about some really good people that understand electronics. I mean, anything and everything electronics. They know it, they've got it, they can help you. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Hello, Curtis and Lorena, serving you with all the different cables and the power cords and the home theater systems and the video surveillance cameras. And they've even got now a great big line of dehydrated food in stock, too. Better check it out. Televisions from Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs, complete sound systems. Woo! If you're going to be Christmas shopping, that's the place to go. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's in Burley. Holy smokes, next hour, what have we got? Gregory Wrightstone, and we're going to be talking about John Kerry as the new Biden climate czar. Uh-oh. Hold on to your billfold. And then at 10:30 this morning, Deb Hines with Dog Days. Don't forget that. All of that coming up in the next hour. Zeb at the Ranch, and now let's send it back over to Sean at our main studios. Oh, good morning, and welcome back to hour number 3. Zeb at the Ranch on this December 7th, a day of infamy, Remembrance Day of Pearl Harbor. Thank you very much. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and the best of service. And also don't forget our dear friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you quickly, Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve in your home with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today and talk to them about a Lennox home comfort system installed in your home. Easy. Call them at 678-0459 or call or get on RamseysOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Want to also quickly remind you about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Hello, Brett and the whole group over there. I'm telling you what, they are good people at 459 Overland in Burley. And I'm urging you to stop in and check out all the new furniture that's arriving every single day. What a selection of all the recliners and, of course, the sofas and the sectionals and the dining room sets. And don't forget, absolutely amazing, all the floor coverings, all the carpet, everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Do yourself a favor, buy yourself a Christmas present. Stop in to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Well, when I talk about the absolute pathetic idiocy of climate change and man wanting to control the climate and everything else that is leading us down a path of destruction economically with climate change, there is one book that comes to mind that I refer to very frequently, and that's the book called Inconvenient Facts, written by my friend Gregory Wrightstone. He's on the air. Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Oh, good morning, Zeb. Good to be back on with you, old friend.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm going to start this off by just saying that the appointment of Lurch who I call also John Kerry, a guy that could not absolutely organize a one-horse parade, is going to be the new energy and climate czar with the Biden administration? Oh, help me, please.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Yeah, there's a couple of things we need to when we talk about John Kerry, he's been mostly ineffective throughout his whole career, but he's positioned now with this new, what's going to be apparently the Biden administration, to head up his climate, as climate czar there. He's a true believer. He really, there's some people where the words come out of their mouth, but they don't really think the Earth is going to be ending in 12 or so years. There's an apocalypse pending. John Kerry, on the other hand, I really do believe he's a true believer. But the key thing that your listeners need to know is that just a few years ago, when discussing the Paris Climate Accord, he stated that no matter what the United States does on climate change in terms of cutting our carbon dioxide emissions, it won't make a bit of difference. And the reason and that's exactly what he said. He said that's because China and India, and mostly China, continue to increase their emissions. They continue to build coal-fired electricity generation facilities. So he says without getting them on board, no matter what we do here will be for naught. And of course, he believes that changing the CO2 emissions, it's this giant control knob for the global atmospheric temperature, which you and I both know that's complete hooey. So what I'm predicting right here, and I don't think I'm going too far out of line, is he could well go to China, and in his power, he could roll back a lot of the good that Donald Trump's done over the last 4 years in terms of tariffs, trade deals, and the like, and come back from China waving a new treaty or agreement in hand that, look here, yeah, we've rolled back all these tariffs, and yeah, we're going to go back to 2015 to where we were, but we've saved the Earth. Through this agreement with China, I've saved the Earth and humanity because they've agreed to reduce their CO2 emissions by X percentage by the year 2050, which they won't do. They've made promises time and time and time again about that and have never lived up to them. So I have this great fear that that's what's going to happen. He's going to trade away all the good that's been done with China over non-existent carbon dioxide emissions sometime in the future. And that's just one of the problems I have with them.
Greg,
the person, I tell you what, there's somebody else there in the pending Biden administration that might actually be more dangerous because she is a pretty effective administrator, and that's Janet Yellen at Treasury. She's been a huge carbon tax proponent over the years. She really thinks that's the way to go. That's how we can solve this non-existent problem, is by taxing it to death, increasing electricity costs across the board for all Americans, and frankly, taxing and raising costs for just about every product that uses energy, which is everything.
You know, that leads me to this question, and I don't want to paint you into a corner, but I need to ask this. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had many people call me after the program or sometime in the evening and discuss with me what might happen with a Biden-Harris administration, energy, home heating, all of this, and they're scared. They're worried. I even had one gentleman call me and say that they go south for the winter, and they're afraid about trying to keep two homes up, one here and one down south during the winter months. What are your thoughts? What's going to happen, in your opinion, with these people that are in charge now with energy, and what to do with it, or how much it will cost?
Yeah, well, just as they've enacted some things with the COVID virus because it was a crisis, I could see this administration declaring a climate crisis that allows them free rein to do things that otherwise would require legislation. I guess it's all going to depend, too, on what happens with the Senate. Although your listeners should be comforted. I know Joe Manchin down in West Virginia, who he's not a friend, but I've met him several times, and he's a very sensible Democrat, and he's a huge pro-energy guy in a big energy state. I think he would be, if the Democrats do take over the Senate, God forbid, I don't think he would be a vote that would go against some of the crazy things. But then again, we may not. It may be just like Obama said, I'll do it with my pen and my phone, that Biden could enact some of these carbon taxation schemes. Look for your energy costs to go up for sure, and as they transition away from coal, from natural gas, although there's really no way to run this nation or the world or any nation on renewables. It's not out there. It's not possible.
You know, Greg,
we see some countries doing really stupid things now and regretting it. The Germans, in particular, were leading the European Union in renewables, and they're seeing the costs are just skyrocketing there.
You know, Greg, when you sit down and you analyze all these people from Al Gore right up to the present, and you're a member of the CO2 Coalition now, what do these people, and I know this is kind of an open statement, but what do these people really want?
Yeah. Boy, that's a really good question. What do they want? There are a number of things that I've heard proposed. Is it control? Is it more money? Is it global governance? I've heard all of those things being proposed as what some of their main goals are. Certainly, what they're talking about doing would lead toward global governance. It would lead to higher taxation, a huge stream of revenue going to the government to allow them to then fund other crazy schemes they may have up their sleeves. And we've talked. You and I have talked about this before, and I always tell you when you go, why are they lying to us, Greg? And I always go back with you, don't I? I say, well, you know what, you and each one of your listeners are just as qualified to tell me why they're doing it. Mm-hmm. I can provide the data and the facts that say you're being lied to. I'm not as clear as to the motives and methods. I can't see inside a man's soul or a woman's soul to see what their motivation is. But those are, I think, those are the big things we normally hear about is governments control, huge revenue, and a move towards really a Marxist government. And we've heard that proposed.
Yeah, but Greg, you know, you study this, and your book is such a complete book of all the graphs, the charts, and everything else. And they keep saying, Biden and Harris, that we are going to have zero, that's their number, not mine, zero emissions by 2035. That's 15 years. How in the world could you transition in 15 years all your transportation, all your airplanes, all your farming equipment, everything that relies on fossil fuels to keep this country a solvent country and shipping goods and services all over the world? How in the world can anybody with half a brain figure out that can possibly be done in 15 years?
Well, you can't, because you need for each wind turbine and solar panel, you need an equal amount of power that's backed up by those are what I call, they're not renewables, they're unreliables. And you need, for each one of the unreliables, the energy produced by that at peak production, it has to be backed up by a reliable form of energy. And that's most commonly coal or natural gas. Hydroelectric is a wonderful renewable resource, but it's highly unrealistic for us to believe that any more hydroelectric dams are going to be created and built in this country. In fact, they're talking about tearing some down. So for every megawatt that's created by renewable energy, unreliable energy, you have to have that backup. Whether it's, again, where it might be nuclear, but again, we're moving away from nuclear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think no rational person is going to. I wouldn't put any money into a nuclear plant because we'll probably never get built. So they know that we're being sold a bill of goods. With you just can't you can't look at it here. In fact, I'm writing a commentary right now about that. About what this might look like going forward in the future. And it's going to be ugly. It's going to be blackouts, brownouts. We see that in California. We're seeing it particularly in Australia, Western Australia, with the brownouts and blackouts there that are because, again, they're trying to transition away from fossil fuels.
What did
I embrace them. In fact, we just published a new paper concerning Africa energy this last month, concerning promoting coal-fired power plants in Africa and providing electricity for the people that are dying by the millions because they're heating their homes with wood and dried dung and breathing that in, dying of emphysema and lung disease. Those are millions of lives that could be easily spared by providing them abundant, affordable, reliable electricity generated from coal.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. You are a new, underline the word new, member of the CO2 Coalition. And for the last time you were on the air till now, tell us what that organization is trying to do and what do you think they can do?
Yeah, it's really an amazing group of the top climate scientists in the world. These are atmospheric physicists, climatologists. We've got statisticians and engineers. It's a who's who of science, and that's why I joined the group. I'll be the leader as executive director. One of the things I've seen, though, we've done a lot of really good science. In fact, we just had a paper we published today on the average global temperature and how it's measured and some of the problems involved. But these are guys like Will Happer out of Princeton and Richard Lindzen from MIT. You might have seen Pat Michaels on the Mark Levin show last month. He's one of the top climatologists. So what we want to do, one of the things I recognized with the CO2 Coalition, you could go to co2coalition.org to learn more, was that we were doing great, they were doing great science, but really were failing in the communications. And they brought me on board because frankly, I do a lot of it, with your help. And we need to get this information out there. So I'm mounting an aggressive communication and outreach campaign coming up. It takes money, though. I'm not going to say we're underfunded, but if any of your listeners, if they're thinking or worried about, what can I do, send us $20 or $50 or $100 or somebody wealthy like you, Zeb. I know you could step up in the $10,000 to $20,000 range, but it's the co2coalition.org, and I'm really proud to be part of this and to lead them and to get this important work out there.
Absolutely, but when you start using those five figures like that with an old man like me that's on the verge of retirement, easy there, Greg, easy. One group of people that I think absolutely are being hurt, and they're being slapped in the face in this country, and energy, or the lack of, is what's slapping them in the face with higher costs and everything, and that's the senior citizens living on a budget, if you want to call it that, and trying to heat their homes and trying to go to the doctor's appointments and everything. I am fed up with politicians that have ignored the extreme costs of energy to the senior citizens in our country.
Absolutely. It's those people on a fixed income that will be hurt. We've talked about this before. When we talk about energy and carbon taxes, it's a regressive taxation scheme. And by regressive, I mean it hurts the poorest and those on fixed incomes the worst, because those people pay a higher percentage of their small income for energy. They might, a fellow or person making $20,000 or $15,000 a year might well spend just as much on energy as someone making $180,000 a year. So again, it's the percentage of their income that goes up, and again, it's a regressive taxation system.
Absolutely. You know, with John Kerry and the Biden administration, which I think it won't be long before it'll be called the Harris administration, and the appointments of the people, very left-wing, very Obama-ish, if you will, I have made the statement on my program, and I'd like to get your response, that this term of Biden and Harris is nothing more than a continuation of a third term of Obama and what he wants for this country. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, it would certainly be an extension of it there, but it might actually be more dangerous, especially as you mentioned. Biden might not be. If you're breaking an ankle getting out of the shower like he did, you're pretty frail. We don't know what's going to happen, and we don't wish harm on anybody. But God help us if there's a Kamala Harris in charge there. But I will, if I can share, of course, my home state is Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. I've been deeply involved helping some people get connected there that are doing, an engineer I know put together a team of just top-notch statisticians to look at the Pennsylvania vote and came up with a report that's actually been included in several of the lawsuits. Their analysis came up with 5 counties in Pennsylvania that were just statistical anomalies that were just, they concluded it was impossible to get the numbers they did there. And I know I'm talking with one of the state representatives from Pennsylvania, and they're still fighting it there. Again, I know that we know that they went into retirement communities, signing people up right and left. We know for a fact that Democrat operatives went into Alzheimer wards and signed people up. Is that enough to swing the election? Not each individual one, but perhaps as and it was a cumulative effect of this could well do that.
You know, Greg, you mentioned, I think the last time, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're working on another book along with being the executive director of the CO2 Coalition. Basically, what's a day in the life of Gregory Wrightstone right now? I've got about 1 minute left.
Oh my goodness, you have no. Well, maybe you do have an idea. I've been so busy, and that's good. It's a mission, as you know, that I have. Might actually be why I was put on earth here, to get this information out there and try and get it to the right people. So I haven't gotten much to the book in the last month and a half or 2 months, but I really need to get that done because my goal for the book is to make it have it be the most important book on climate change ever written. Now, that's a goal. I might not get there, but I think it's a pretty good goal to have for a book like that.
Amen.
And again, thanks for having me on, Zeb. You're always a big supporter, and I appreciate that.
God bless you, man, and I mean that. And if I don't see you or talk to you prior to the Christmas season, I want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. God bless, and thanks. Come back soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Gregory Wrightstone, a member of the CO2 Coalition, and an excellent book. If you haven't read that book, you need to. It's called Inconvenient Facts, the Science That Al Gore Doesn't Want You to Know. Excellent book. Merry Christmas wishes go out right now from our dear friends at AMI, 719 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness, look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door, and you'll go nuts over their bolts. Absolutely. Alan and Corey and Eric and Rob and the rest of the folks want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas from AMI. Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Hello, Jeff and the folks out there. All your irrigation needs. These are really, really good folks. Experts that know irrigation and all the equipment. At Magic Valley Irrigation, wishing you Merry Christmas. Baker Brothers Pump Service. Boy, these are good old boys. Let me tell you, when you call them, they're there. 103 West, 500 South of Burley. Fastest and most reliable pump service company. I can attest to that. From residential and commercial pump service to water softener sales and service, they are good. Baker Brothers Pump Service. And again, our dear friend Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27 Senator, very grateful to serve the Mini-Cache area with all of his friends and his constituents, he says, please let everybody know I wish them a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And those are just a few of the Christmas well wishes that we have on Zeb at the Ranch. What we are, excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat again this morning. What we are going to do is send this back over to our main studios in just a moment. And coming up after the break, we're going to have dog days with the Minidoka Animal Control and also our friends at Wagon Tails Rescue with Deb Hines. And, boy, this time of the year, I mean, come on, let's take care of all of our puppies and the cats and the livestock and the horses. You know, the cold temperatures and everything. Just make sure to look out for our animal friends, and I mean that. And Deb's going to be on. We're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. But right now, let's send it back over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
All righty, thank you very much. Your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Yep, your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve. And, of course, that's with the Lennox products. Check with Ramsey Heating and Electric today and see how you can get a Lennox home comfort system that'll help improve your health. Don't forget, call them today at 678-0459 or visit RamseysOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Right now, it's time for dog days, and our thanks go out to Minidoka Animal Control and also the Wagon Tails Rescue. Here is a dear friend, Deb Hines. How are you this morning?
I'm good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, I'm sick of the cold weather already, and it's only about mid-December, not even mid-December. I've had it. I'm sick of it. I bet our little puppies and dogs are not liking the cold weather either.
Not particularly. That's okay. We got them in heated rooms, so they're doing okay.
Let me ask you this, Deb. We've talked about it before, but I had a call last week after you were on the air in the afternoon, and this lady said, do people really understand with the responsibility of having a puppy or a dog, the costs that are involved? And if they don't, then, of course, the dog is the victim because possibly just thrown out into the cold. How would you respond to the costs and really the knowledge that it takes to be a pet owner and a dog owner?
Well, honestly, as I have said many, many times, having a dog is like adding to your family. So you have to be ready to pay for stuff. The biggest expense of any animal is a spay or neuter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done for the betterment of the dog. Honest and truly, because they can get cancer if you don't get them fixed. People don't understand that. It does not change their personality. It just helps them with their health.
Right.
But that's the biggest amount of money you're going to have in there. Vaccinations are not that expensive. Just like a kid, they've got to have booster shots once a year. And it may cost you $20 a year to get that done.
Yeah. But do you find, though, Deb, that a lot of these dogs that are just all of a sudden orphaned and people say, I can't afford it anymore, I'm just going to get rid of him, whatever, that maybe they didn't have a very good appraisal of what the responsibility was in the first place? And one of the things that I'll tie into that responsibility is that it really irritates me that parents and people buy pets for little kids, and then sooner or later, probably sooner, the kids lose interest.
Yeah, when they come in here and say, my kid wants a dog, I go, I'm sorry. Honestly, who's going to take care of the dog? Because you don't have a kid that's going to be responsible. You can't make them take care of that dog.
Yeah.
So, and my policy here is I will not adopt a dog or a puppy at Christmas because I don't want it back in January when you're tired of it.
Amen. Amen.
Come and see me, and, if you want a dog, and especially for a kid, let's get it an older dog that's already semi-house trained.
Yep.
And let them grow up, per se, with that dog. I mean, it's just like you and I are horse people. I love it. I want to get a colt for my kid. I want them to grow up together. Okay. That's not going to work out well.
That is one of the dumbest things in the horse world and also the dog world that I've ever heard is that, well, I'm going to get my Johnny's 9 years old, and so I'm going to get him a young horse or a colt, and they can grow up together and learn together. That's a good way to put your child in intensive care.
Yeah, and it's a good way to lose a good horse.
Yes, exactly right.
So, it's like wait till their kid broke and then come get it and let the kid ride it and learn, and then when they get older, progress.
Amen.
But yeah, you and I agree on that one. But it's the same way with a dog.
Yep.
If you aren't willing to give it the time, please don't come get one. I try to make sure these guys go to good homes, and we assess them and assess them and assess them and try to fit the dog with the person.
Yeah.
I can't make them do anything after they leave here. That's the sad part.
Well, that leads me into the next question, though, Deb. I can't assume that this happens, but I would think it would. That people might say, "Oh, I heard Deb Hines on the radio, and over at Minidoka Animal Control, they got like 6 or 7 Australian puppies. Let's go over and get one, and then give it to little Susie and Johnny for a Christmas present." That bothers me.
Yeah. Not happening here.
Okay. Well, what have we got for featured dogs for today?
Believe it or not, I have just got in Saturday a pit bull. His name is Bookie. He is house trained, kid trained, loves cats, which is really unusual. And the only reason I got him, another wonderful story, he keeps getting out of the yard. I'm getting too many fines.
Oh, my goodness.
But this is one phenomenal dog. The other thing that's good for him and the people is that he will be neutered when he leaves here, and it will not affect his adoption price.
I see.
I've got some sponsors that are willing to help me get that stuff done so that I can keep my cost of my adoptions down and maybe get the dogs out of here a little better.
Well, Deb, let me interrupt you right here. And I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm going to learn myself. But why did the so-called pit bull dogs get such a absolute degradation and misnomer? What is about them that they were lumped into the category of they're all bad?
Well, I think if you do research on those guys, they were actually bred and raised to be nannies, along with several other dogs that are considered Rottweilers. The list is endless. But unfortunately for us, somebody has decided to turn them into a nightmare dog.
Uh-huh.
And it's the way they're raised. Not the dog itself, not the breed, but the way they're raised.
I see.
And if you take any dog, I don't care what it is, Australian Shepherd, you name it, you could turn that dog into a vicious dog. And then all of a sudden then that particular breed's going to get a really bad name.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had pit bulls in here that have been around baby pups, and I'm serious, I've got pictures, and absolutely mother them to death.
Really?
My friends that have adopted pit bulls have said the same thing. I never worry about my kids. That dog won't let anybody around my kids. Exactly. They're made to be protectors.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask you this question then, before we get too far down the rails here. Besides Bookie, the pit bull, do you have any other featured dogs for this week? Because we're drawing closer and closer to kind of a Christmas break, and I want to make sure we find some homes for them.
Yes, I've got a little guy in here. He was born August the 1st. He's a Chiweenie.
A what?
Chihuahua Dachshund cross. Chiweenie.
A Chiweenie. Sounds like a sandwich at a baseball game.
Yeah, kind of. He is a hoot. His name is Dude.
Okay.
And he's a little guy, and he loves to play and have attention. He has started at house training and stuff. I got him because she didn't have time to mess with him.
Okay.
So, at any rate.
A Chiweenie.
He's in the office with me right now, just raising Cain. But the other thing is, with him, I've got a friend that's got a Chiweenie who thinks she's a cow dog.
Uh-huh.
And that's true, too. I've seen that dog out with cows going, are you stupid? You're going to get killed.
Oh, my. A Chiweenie. I mean, if you hadn't have said that, and I know you're being sincere, I would have looked at the microphone and go, uh-huh, she's been on the sauce again.
No.
Okay.
I'm serious. Because the first time I heard that word, I went, excuse me, but no, it's a little Chiweenie, and he's just a sweetheart.
Okay.
And
Now,
he's just ready to go be loved.
Now, let me ask you this. We keep mentioning that there's another group of people that you always want to thank every program, and that's Wagon Tails Rescue. Give us a little bit about them.
Okay, Wagon Tails is a, I don't know, they've been around for years and years. They used to get dogs and get them adopted, but now their main goal is spay and neuters. So they're one of our hosts on our spay and neuters, and we get discounted spay and neuters for our adopted dogs. Like if you adopted a pup, when it's time, come back in and we help you get that animal fixed.
Okay.
It costs you $25. But they've been around a long time, and without them, I honestly and truly do not know where I would be in certain cases, because they're very good at helping me sponsor stuff. They're good at helping me get dogs out. They're just a good avenue for everything, and I really appreciate them a lot.
There you go. Now, bring me up to speed. What's Chiweenie's name again?
Dude.
Dude. Okay. Dude. For a little bitty Chiweenie.
Dude.
Okay. All right. So we've got Dude.
Dude, too, by the way. I need to bring him just so you can play with him in a minute.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to while I'm on the air. I'm sure that would work out good. We've got Dude the Chiweenie, and then we've got Bookie the Pit Bull, and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and come see the dogs.
Okay, you can call me at 208-438-2200. We're here until 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday, and noon on Saturdays. And our address is 50 West, 200 South. But if you'd like to make an appointment to come see one, please do. If you have another dog and want to make sure they're going to get along, please bring your dog, because we have an area where they can play, and I want to make sure everything is good before that dog leaves our facility.
God bless you. I love that. Thanks, Deb. You are just a real blessing to talk to, and I know you are an animal lover like I am, and I certainly hope you have a good week, and we'll look forward to talking to you next Monday. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Deb.
All right, take care. Deb Hines with Minidoka Animal Control, and she's really sincere about being an animal lover. I know that. I've known her for a long, long time. Time for the weather. I'm almost on time for once this hour. And the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats. Don Scarrow and his excellent staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Wow, this time of the year, all the smoked turkeys and the hams and the prime ribs and, the gift boxes. You got to get a hold of them. What a great Christmas present, a gift box of meat from Scarrows. Check it out today. Call them again, 324-7657, Scarrows Meats over in Jerome. Tell you more right after Gina has the weather.
The air stagnation advisory continues for today, and we're going to have some sunny skies. Here's a look at your weather forecast. For today, sunny. We are expecting a high of 43. Not really much of a breeze. That's why we've got that air stagnation advisory. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 14. Tomorrow, another beautiful day, sunny skies, high of 44. Still not much of a breeze to speak of. By Wednesday, mostly sunny, 48. Then looks like 38 for Thursday. That's a look at your weather for Zebit Duran.
Thank you, Gina. And again, I want to reiterate that for all the delicious meats, you can go and check it out on their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, that telephone number to call Don and the crew, 324-7657. You better believe it, at Scarrows Meats, they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. I have got time for somebody that wants to call in to do so at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give us a jingle. One thing I wanted to mention, and tonight starts round 5 of the huge National Finals Rodeo. You probably know, of course, it was stopped in Las Vegas because of fears of the coronavirus, COVID-19. And as of September 1st, having the huge multi-million-dollar National Finals was up in the air. And just to give you a quick synopsis of what happened, Arlington, Texas, the home of the Texas Rangers baseball team and their beautiful brand new stadium facility, and of course all the surrounding businesses and towns, Fort Worth, etc., all got together and said, why can't we host the National Finals Rodeo here? And in a short span of September, October, November, and then bingo on December 3rd, starting the National Finals, I've got to tell you that I've announced the National Finals in both Oklahoma City and Las Vegas on numerous occasions. And what these people have done in Arlington, Texas, or if you want to call it the main town, Fort Worth, is absolutely phenomenal. All the different amenities that are offered families down there in Fort Worth and Arlington, all the different things to do, all the different fun activities and everything for families has just absolutely come to the forefront. And in a span of only 3 months to put on, like I said, a multi-million-dollar event. And they've done an outstanding job. I mean, I just have sat back every night, and I know a lot of the folks down there in the Texas area. I know the people that are involved in the production. They have done a job in 3 months that most places, and as of late, Las Vegas, they, of course, planned for a full year on everything that had to be done. And I've just got to say that I'm just totally blown away with the way that they handled the logistics, even the arena itself on a baseball field. Professional Major League Baseball field for the Texas Rangers. And they talked about Preferred Welding Company with all the Preferred chutes and everything else. What they had to do to get ready for that National Finals Rodeo on that Texas Ranger baseball field. It was astronomical. They had people sitting at computers night and day trying to figure out the configuration of the arena and how this would go in and fit there, how that would work over here, how about the crowd, even though they've had to be limited on ticket sales down there because of COVID, how the crowd could best see this event and how they could watch here and everything. The logistics was absolutely phenomenal. And I got to tell you that I just think the job that the Texas Chamber of Commerce, the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce, all the people around Fort Worth, Arlington, etc., and Dallas, you need to take your hat off to these folks and say, golly, did you ever do a job? And their openings have been absolutely phenomenal. The camera work from RFD TV, the Cowboy Channel, Patrick Gotch and his staff, absolutely phenomenal. I've been occasioned to know all the commentators. I know them very well. And they've done just absolutely an outstanding job. And then the other night, I think it was round 3 or 4, I can't remember, but having the governor of South Dakota, Kristi Noem, a governor that is a very attractive, very sharp lady, carry the flag for for the opening ceremonies, and I mean, she's not a fluke. She's a real ranch-raised cowgirl, knows how to ride a horse, knows politics, and everything about it has just been A1. Sure, they might have some pitfalls and some pratfalls during the course of the 10-day run of the national finals, but so far, I've got to tell you that I just have been absolutely impressed with, from the beginning, their prayers, with the cross, and then leading into the national anthem with the flag and the singers. You won't get any complaint from me. I think that Arlington, Texas, and Texas in general, has done a tremendous job in hardly any time to prepare for it. The great, big, huge National Finals Rodeo, and God bless them, I think they're doing a great job. Want to say thank you to our major sponsor, and that's, of course, your Les Schwab Tire Centers. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. All the tires. Absolutely all the tires for all the vehicles, all the different tread designs, everything waiting for you, and they know tires. All their people have graduated from the School of Tireology, and they understand what's going to best fit your driving needs, along with the best in brake service and front-end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. And I keep telling you, these early morning hours, like when I get up at 3:45, it's doggone cold out there, and you better make sure that you've got a battery that's going to turn that engine over, and you're going to get to work. They've got the best in batteries at all 7 locations. I urge you to stop in and see them today. James in Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, along with the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. There is and I'm just going to touch on this lightly because, as you know, I'm very, very committed to not putting anything on this radio program that is not 110% bona fide fact. And there were all kinds of stories circulating around the last couple of days, and I will say this, if they prove to have any semblance of fact, I will put them on this program. But there's been a lot of stories circulating, and I'm a little hesitant to even mention some of the circumstances about former President Barack Obama being arrested and Joe Biden wearing an ankle monitor. That's why he's got the boot on and everything. And it just seems like they were running rampant. Now, again, I want to reiterate, we will not carry or promote any stories until they are proven as fact. And I've had so many people call me over the weekend saying, you better put this on the air. Well, you should have that on the air. You got to talk about this. No. I draw the line on this program, nobody else. And unless it is absolutely substantiated and fact, it will never go on this program. Okay? What have we got cooking for tomorrow? We've got Dan Kish, and he knows energy. And we've got Gary Goldman back in Boston, Massachusetts. I cannot wait to have Gary on the program and talk about this mess with Biden and Harris. We've got Dr. History coming on the program. No, wait a minute. Tomorrow, I'm on the wrong Tuesday. We've got Dr. History, Dan Kish, and Jessica Anderson, and others. I'm on the weekends. But it's going to be a great program, and we always look forward to having you here, where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most to me: in God we trust. I hope you have a wonderful day, and tune us in tomorrow morning at 8:06. Zebeth Ranch, God bless.